The great attraction now for the traditional Mass is people are discovering the spirituality and the beauty, the dignity of the old rite of Mass, and they're becoming attracted to that. The phrase that came to my mind was, "Ad enquil litificat juventutem meam," to God who gives joy to my youth. Here we have this wonderful Mass of antiquity, going back 1500 years and more. This ancient venerable rite, I think, as the Holy Father called it. And yet, every generation experiences it anew to themselves, fresh to themselves. And the phrase that came to my mind was, it is the Mass of eternal youth.
In nos vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo, sequentia sancti evangelii, secundum Lucam. Gloria tibi, Domine.
The purpose of spiritual direction in the seminary is that of discernment. You know, the seminarian, the seminarian who comes here with the intention of being a priest. We who are the seminary, part of the seminary staff here, have to determine, is that a true call? Is it a true supernatural call to the priesthood? And one of the things we have to determine is, do they have sufficient intellectual and moral virtue to become a priest? It's important in today's ecclesiastical environment, if you will, that a priest be able to explain the faith, catechize those who haven't been catechized. And so he has to have a sufficient grasp of theology, be able to understand the principles of our faith, and not only that, relate them in a way that people can understand. After that, we try to determine and discern, does the candidate have the necessary spiritual qualities, the spirit of sacrifice, the spirit of self-giving that is necessary to be called towards the priesthood.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
It's important as a priest to know how to think properly, which the philosophy teachers here do a very good job at providing us with good philosophy. And then they also go into the philosophies that are out there today that are off track with reality. And as a priest, it's important to know what other people are thinking these days and how they're in error.
Nowadays, men live with so many contradictions in their own minds, and they don't seem to have a difficulty with that, in part because we have lost that art of reasoning. Sometimes we joke that the seminary is a bit of a bubble, and it is, but I think it's a bubble in a good sense, that it's a place where very clean air is breathed, and that clean air is not only in terms of the spiritual life, but also in terms of intellectually, where there is an understanding that there is such a thing as objective truth, and man is made to know and to seek that truth.
Here at Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary, as you may know, the Fraternity of St. Peter is very much committed to a Thomistic philosophical background. We have a larger academic program that goes beyond philosophy. And so by the time a seminarian completes his 7-year stint here, I feel very, very confident in saying they are as well educated as any young man educated anywhere on that planet.
St. Thomas's theology, his philosophy, his theology, is the foundation of all that we study here. That foundation is very much part of the Church's patrimony. The Church has always commended St. Thomas to seminarians, continues to do so even to this day, because the Church has realised the solidity of St. Thomas's thought, because it is grounded in the way things are. It's grounded in the fathers of the Church.
It's an education in truth. It is what, in 28 or 30 years of living in the world, being in the Marine Corps, and I went to the U.S. Naval Academy and got an engineering degree. And it wasn't until I came here that I realized that this is true education. This is not telling me how to do something, this is telling me why things are the way they are. I felt like I never truly learned anything until I came here, and I learned the truth.
I quickly came to Gregorian chant as a nearly essential element to contribute to the aesthetic, to the spirituality of the Mass. Here's a music that was developed in the Church over the course of centuries, not of musicians, not of practices and rehearsals, but of prayer. And that's the central element to chant, is its prayer, and the way that it leads not just the people singing, but the people listening to an appreciation of God's presence around them. And especially when that takes place in the context of the liturgy, then all of a sudden you have this very powerful medium, music, at the service of prayer to lead people to the realities of the altar. Is about taking those elements of our daily life and saying those things are subordinate to the spiritual realities, to the reality of God's presence among us, to our relationship to Him. Chant in the fraternity is it's sort of like hand in glove. We've had so many fantastic chant directors throughout the years at seminary here. We have chant lessons twice a week. The Schola meets very regularly, and every week we have 3 masses which chant is employed in order to complement the liturgy.